17th of October 2023. This is one of that Let's Talk Skidmarks. The one I did yesterday about that ironic position that the ANC and the EFF has taken towards the Palestinian people has stirred up some emotions, and it's quite obviously that I've hit some raw spots. The fact of the matter is, what is going on there is inhumane. You can discuss it any which way you like. And I want to make it very clear. There are people that are, from the fact that I talk against what is being done to the Palestinians, they automatically assume I support Hamas. What shit is that? I've never said I support Hamas. There are two sets of perpetrators there. The one is the Palestinian, let's call them terrorists, and the other one is the Zionists. They are both committing serious atrocities. But as one of the commentators said, if you support the Palestinians, you piss off half of the people. If you support the Israelis, you piss off the other half of the people. And if you talk peace, you piss off everybody. Think about that. And I see just exactly as what happened in the Ukraine. This fucking Western forces, they only talk war. Only war. Not one of them talk peace. Not one. That makes me very angry, because it proves to me that the same satanic cabal that was behind the Ukraine fuck-up is behind this one in the Middle East. Now there's a big problem in the Middle East currently, in this round. I see there's people that refer back to the 6-day war, and then they post out what the Arabian losses were and how little losses the Israelis took and all that. They better fucking shake their heads and wake up. This is 2023. In those years, the Arabs were at their best armed with an RPG-7 and an AK-47. Those days are gone. Gone. I listened last night to some military analysts that were speaking. The forces that, and I'm going to call them the Arabs, that the Arabs can unleash against Israel is enormous. Forces that will most probably stop the Americans as well. And then someone made a fucking stupid comment about nuclear weapons. Whoever pushes that nuclear button must just understand it's the end of the West. They push that button and it is the end of the West, and most probably the end of the world. And fortunately, there are people in the Pentagon, the guys that are actually sitting on the buttons, that knows it. And they're not going to allow these politician idiots to get the world wiped out on emotion. But the reality is this. Think about that. 7 days now. People are without water, without food, without electricity. My personal opinion, and I don't give a damn about what your feelings is and how many interpretations you have of the Bible and all of that. The facts is, what the Zionists are doing there is satanic at the best. Plus, they cannot claim one single dot of special treatment according to the scriptures. They are not the selected and elected and special and what the fuck they want to call themselves. They're a lot of warmongering brutalists that have been stealing Palestinian land. And that is the facts in that matter. So, I'm a South African, I'm a boer, I'm sitting here in South Africa, far away from that shit there. But I am not emotionally committed to whoever thinks they are in charge there. Because that Netanyahu is the biggest, most corrupt leader that the Israelis ever had. And I listened to him last night in one of his talks trying to, I'm not even going to repeat it, trying to justify their shit. There's no justification for what they're doing. No justification. But I can see the invasion, the land invasion of Gaza has been postponed, and they're using all sorts of stupid reasons for the postponement. Because the Arab nations has put them on notice. Go into Gaza and we're going to come and help them. And yes, I see that one American so arrogant, and they can fight on two fronts. It has reached the point that they can't even fight properly on one front. They're out of ammunition, they're out of weapons, and Ukraine has proven that their so-called wonder weapons are not so wonderful. The fact of the matter is, people are being killed, ordinary people, and 50% or more of the people that are being killed and maimed is children. What fucking beasts are doing that? Raw barbarians, that's what they are. And for you guys that are so committed to the chosen fucking people, fuck that, man. They're barbarians. That's what they are. And then we get to this one. One of the commentators was hugely upset because I dared to draw a correlation between what is being done to the Palestinians to what is being done to the Boere in South Africa. He was highly upset about that. But I just laughed. The fact of the matter is, unfortunately, you can see, and this is something that the Boer nation must take fucking note of. The world is screaming about what is being done to the Palestinians. Take note of the lack of action to really help them and protect them. Take note of that. That is important for you to take note of. Because in the end, there's a lot of people here in South Africa that has got this dream that the international community will help us. That's not going to happen. We are on our own. And then I had another commentator, and he made a hell of a long story about how bad the players in the BRICS bloc is. And he went on about their government styles and human rights and a lot of things. And then he turns around and he states the case for the West, and he tries to convince me that it is not the West that is bad, it is the Western leadership that is bad. Well, I've got news for him. I'm 72 years old. I've seen what the West has done to us. I've seen it. And for him to pin his hopes on that corrupt, morally bankrupt West is a useless exercise. It's never going to happen. The problem is, we're a small minority. I don't think we're 3 million people. And that is a big reality that we all must take note of. So, if you listen to this and you are upset about the fact that I feel fuck all for those Israelis, go and walk around your house and take a drink of water and settle your nerves, because you can write nothing in my comments that will change my view. That is my view. That what is in charge in Israel is not God's chosen people. Definitely not. And then I want to add this. I listened to a debate, and there are a Muslim guy and a Christian guy. And the Muslim guy says the following. He says to the Christian guy, you guys talk about heaven, and you tell us how great heaven is, but yet you are scared to go there. Why is that? We, the Muslims, we look forward to go there. Now, I mention that so that I can warn Europe, Canada, and America. There are millions of Muslims in Europe, Canada, and America. And we can see it now with all these protests and support marches for the Palestinians. There's a hell of a lot of them there. But what the Western citizens must understand fucking clearly, if things go wrong in the Middle East and the violence spills over, the Europeans and the Americans are going to be in for a hell of a ride, because you must understand that there are fanatics in the Muslim communities. Fanatics. A guy that will strap a lot of explosives around his body and walk into a place and pull the trigger and whoop, he's gone. But he takes 100 or 200 people with him. He's not afraid to do it. I don't know of Westerners that are so committed to do something like that. Now imagine just 200 of them do it on one day across the West. Imagine that pandemonium. So, the Western citizens, you better take a damn good look at who's your leaders, because your leaders are taking you on a roller coaster to hell. That's what they are doing. And you have to understand that that leadership will get you into trouble. They are safe. They are safe. Well padded in their ivory towers. It is us, the ordinary people, that will die in the streets. That is the problem. So, think about these things. And those warmongers that are stoking the fires in the Middle East, you must question them. Why are they doing it? And as I said, nobody is talking about peace. Nobody. And that is a tragedy. But you have to ask yourself why. Why? And then think about those people in Gaza. 7 days without water. 7 days without electricity. 7 days without fuel. 7 days without food. Think about that. Before you come and you make a comment in my comments about me being wrong. At the end of the day, it is human beings that are being slaughtered. Contrary to what those Zionists calls them, human animals. That is the fact. But what they have done there is they dehumanize the Palestinians, and then they feel justified to kill them. Everywhere in the world you can see dehumanizing is a precursor to genocide. And that is what is going on in Israel. Those Zionists are busy wiping out the Palestinians. That is what they are doing there. And for me, that is not right. Where did they get the right to wipe a nation out? Where? What justifies that? Nothing. And if you support that, you are just as bad as the guys that are actually doing it. That is the thing. We have a situation today. If I talk about race and point things out, I'll be branded a racist. And that word has been weaponized. And that word has been used to destroy people's lives and careers. But that is not the only word that XXX uses. They've got another word weapon, anti-Semitic. Same shit, exactly the same shit. Why? You must ask that question for yourself. Why have they weaponized racism? Why have they weaponized anti-Semitics or anti-Semitism? Why? Only they know why. We just feel the results if you should step on that landmine. That's it. So keep your eyes open. We are all being played for a bigger plan. Now, it is quite clear that, let's call it the BRICS bloc or the Global South or whatever you want to call it, has decided that they are done with the West. They're done with the West. I listened last night again to a long debate on economics and the economic disaster that is speeding up towards the West specifically is horrific. Horrific. The fallout. I have heard, you hear about the derivative trading and so forth. Now, derivative trading is apparently, in short, just insurance on a price of something. The guys are covering their asses. And they're betting on a commodity to get to that price. And then it's like a damn gamble. That's what they do. But the value of the derivatives, the value of the derivative market is $60 trillion. Yeah, $600 trillion. $600 trillion. Try and imagine that amount. There's not enough money in the world to cover it. And there are guys that are in that market that say that the derivative market is going to collapse. If that happens, I don't want to say, but he also then said that the Russians and the Chinese has slowly but surely since 2020 years, they started already disconnecting their economies from the West. They're also busy buffering their banking systems against it. That's why there's a movement away from the dollar. They are using less and less and less dollars. Because the less dollars they have, the less the impact of the Western collapse will be on them. And China is helping the countries in Africa and in South America and in the East to start preparing their markets and preparing their economies to buffer it against the collapse of the Western financial system. Now, when is that collapse going to happen? Nobody really knows, but they are fairly confident that it can't go on for longer than another 6 months. My concern is that in South Africa, this fucking useless government of us are so under control of XXX that we are extremely tightly connected to the Western system. Instead of them walking away from that shit, no, they cling to it. Why? Because they get a lot of free money from them. But that free money is going to evaporate. It's going to evaporate. And we're just going to sit with a debt. And no income. And no cash. What's going to happen then? And there's one guy that was so upset about my Skidmark off yesterday. And I said to him, okay, but just tell me this. How the fuck do you think South Africa is going to survive? The BRICS countries can see how you fuck this economy up. They can see how you fuck the infrastructure up. They can see it. They're not idiots. Do you think they're going to give you free money? The reality is, they are going to take as much as they can out of South Africa. That's what they're going to do because they are businessmen. But let's see where that goes. Please consider it to support the channel. I don't want to beg. I'm not a beggar. It goes against everything that I am. But I really need support. You can see the channel is not monetized. And there is a stupid reason for it. But that's it. This is a decision that was made. So, there are a few ways that you can support the channel. And it's in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. There is the option for debit order, which is a monthly thing, or you can do a one-time debit order if you want to. There's options for EFT, and there's, for the international people, there's the PayPal option. I would surely appreciate that. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.